G'day YouTube, Warbles on a lot here, and I'm afraid I'm going to take a one-eyed view at one of the one-eyed antinatalists. Pretty sure he's an EFIL-ist too. Bloke called DerivedEnergy. DerivedEnergy at the moment seems to feel like he's in the position of Don Quixote. What that means is DerivedEnergy has been tilting at windmills and accusing me of being a wizard and saying that he can only cope with so much bullshit. Don't know what else he had to say, because although DerivedEnergy and I have been commenting to each other for a couple of years at least, and at one stage he told me he was subbed to me and he was following my activities, he apparently doesn't take it seriously that I don't have a computer. I've only got mobile phones. Button-type mobile phones with tiny little screens on which to watch YouTube movies. So when some Pusilanimous Pommy Pissant takes it into their cranky little head to make a movie about me and accuse me of being a wizard, and they don't say anything on the movie, they just put up some tiny little pictures of me and some other dude and a few books that I haven't read and I'm not interested in, and then types underneath it and punches up cue card after cue card with indecipherable writing. All I know is that here's somebody who wants to use my name and my face in their YouTube movie for the amusement of their friends. Don't really know anything else about what you've been saying or why or what your problem is, Kirk. You know, oops, shit, sorry I said your name. I didn't know what your name was, but you know, there for a while, that's what your channel name turned into. And of course, when all of your friends were so deeply upset because you managed to find yourself looking at stripy sunlight in Jakarta because somebody said you had, what was it, 2 grams plus a joint burning and another one rolled or something? Tiny weeny little bit of pot in Indonesia, and all your Yankee friends, most of your Pommy friends, they didn't know how severely the Indonesians view foreigners who are smoking pot. And they thought if they huffed and they puffed and they waved their arms and they said that you were an upstanding member of the atheist community and a leading light among the antinatalists and the EFIL-ists as well, they thought that was going to do you a favour in Indonesia, where there are 5 religions you're allowed to be, and atheist is not on the list. So I took it upon myself to attempt to educate your companions, first in the comment threads and then in a series of movies I made, explaining to them how life works in Indonesia. So I'm guessing that the reason you're not going verbally onto YouTube since they let you out is that you're probably still in Indonesia and you don't want to risk saying anything about atheism in case they voice print it to you. You've got some credible deniability when movies are happening on your channel, but you don't actually appear in them. That's my guess. That's the only friendly way of interpreting your refusal to just get on the fucking camera and yap to the gadget, as Fred says. And speaking of Fred, I don't know why Fredism offends you. I know a lot of you antinatalists and EFIL-ists thought that Fred was a budding antinatalist. I thought he was an antinatalist when I first made Observer's Guide to Antinatalists and Antinatalism. I accused him of being an antinatalist, and I didn't believe him when he was on the comment thread denying it. Fred was actively listening. Fred was finding out what the fuck antinatalists think they think. You know, that's entirely honourable and admirable and quite a noble scientific approach to the phenomenon. And I heard of antinatalists, I just made a movie telling them how fucking wrong they were. And then started to find out, you know, what else they thought and why they thought they wanted to be wrong. But no, Fred did a proper job. Found out what you guys think you think about and why you think that, and then looked at it logically in the context of all other human thought that's gone before it. You know, whereas I say antinatalism is a psychopathology and not a philosophy, he said it's not a fucking philosophy, it's just childish dribble. But I have great respect for what I call Fredism, which is the idea that you should think as carefully about conceiving a new human as you might think about killing one that already exists. You know, life would be a lot better if there were more Fredists who thought like that about conception. But antinatalism, no, it's never going to go anywhere. It only appeals to people who are atheists and depressed. And I know you say you're not depressed, but that's because you haven't read or listened to yourself from the point of view of somebody who's actually not depressed. You're only comparing yourself to somebody who's on a mind-numbing zombie head full of antipsychotics and antidepressant drugs. Like, compared to somebody who's not depressed, yeah, you are depressed. It's just you're not as depressed as some of the people that you know. Birds of a feather flock together, you know. Antinatalism is a good hangout for people who are depressed to whinge about how much they fucking hate the world. And if you haven't got any God theory you can imagine worth a pinch of shit to the compost heap, well, yeah, I suppose it would be pretty depressing. But if you sit back and you watch how often the arseholes get their just desserts, it's not as depressing as you make it out to be. It's just that you can't imagine what the mechanism is that runs the cosmic scoreboard effect, therefore you're saying it's not possible for it to be there. I'm saying I used to be an atheist and I grew out of the phase. You're just clinging to fucking childish ideas. You only want to debunk God theories that are fucking easy to debunk. But whatever, if you want to take a tilt at me and my fucking windmill, then at least make your cue cards big enough they can be seen on a 6120 Nokia Classic. Right? Otherwise you are literally fucking throwing stones at a blind man, because I can't fucking see what you said. Right? And I'm sorry if you got your knickers all twisted and your nose out of joint when I compared you matchmaking Fred with some other woman that you don't like the look of, and I related that to you pimping your tired old mother's ass, and oh, that wasn't acceptable. And when I said, well, you know, why is it acceptable for you to make jokes about that old woman's vagina, but when we talk about the cunt ring you had around your neck, it's not acceptable? Oh, I was a terrible, horrible person. Such a horrible person that when you want to tilt at me in the windmill, you don't even let me know what you're saying. Yeah. Pusilanimous Pommy Pissant. Such a fucking crazy rabid dog, you bite the hand that tried to feed you. Warbles on a lot to derived energy. Up your nose with a rubber hose, dingbat. Ciao.